back, and welcome to another episode of Meaningful Moments. Today, I'd like to speak from the thought, you can't break my soul. A few weeks ago, during one of my spin classes at Lifetime Fitness with Angelica, I was inspired to develop this episode because of the words of a song that was playing in the background. In fact, after I left the class, I kept hearing the phrase, you can't break my soul. As I meditated on the truth of that affirmative statement, I was reminded of the life and times of Nelson Mandela, who spent extensive years in prison because of his desire to see all men free and living together harmoniously. It was on June the 12th of 1964 that Mandela and 6 others were sentenced to life imprisonment and sent to the notorious Robben Island, known for its gruesome conditions, to serve their sentences. In 1973, the government offered to release Mandela if he agreed to certain conditions, but he refused because they could not break his soul. Mandela continued to stand upon his convictions that caused him to resist the system of apartheid in his homeland. As he continued to fight for equality and freedom for all people, his dream for free and equal people everywhere subjugated him to unprecedented pain and suffering. But, my friend, they could not break his soul. On February the 11th of 1990, Mandela walked out of a South African prison after 27 years of captivity. On October the 15th of 1993, Mandela shared a Nobel Peace Prize, and on May the 10th, Nelson Mandela was elected the first black president of South Africa. This occurred only because he refused to let them break his soul. Now, you and I will probably never suffer the unprecedented misfortune that Nelson Mandela endured. But each of us are often presented with adversarial situations that have the power to change our lives if they are not decisively dealt with. It is unfortunate, but there are those who take pleasure in making life difficult for others. In fact, they seem to be dedicated to the demise of others. But always remember, my friend, they can't break your soul. There's a biblical story found in 1 Samuel chapter 30 regarding the ancient king David, who returned home with all of his fighting men, only to find his entire village of Ziklag destroyed by fire. To make matters worse, the wives and children of the village had been taken captive. We are told that the men of Ziklag that day wept until they had no more strength. Several of the men in the group became so emotionally distraught that they decided to physically attack David to find some measure of relief. How would David survive the loss of his family and being attacked by his own trusted men? We're told that David broke free from his grief and depression by speaking words of hope to his soul. The conclusion of the story says that the men of the village had a change of heart and they went to battle with David and rescued all of their families. Amazingly, David refused to let them break his soul. My friend, you and I must be like King David and Mandela. Just keep saying to your opposition, you can't break my soul.